Hello, I am Miss Wendy. We are going to be learning about birds. Birds are warm-blooded. They have wings and feathers in flight and beaks. And we're going to learn about some of the ways that birds have adapted to different ways of feeding and different environments. But let's start with our song. Hello, children, I see you. I'm very happy to see you. Greet your family, boogie on down. Give a clap and turn around. And let's do another song just to warm up before we learn about birds. So we're going to do the birdie pokey. Get your wings ready. I put my right wing in, I take my right wing out, I put my left wing in and shake it all about. I do the birdie pokey and I turn myself around. That's what it's all about. I put my beak in, I take my beak out, I take my tail feathers in and move them all about. I do the birdie pokey and I turn myself around. That's what it's all about. Now, the first thing that we're going to learn about is feathers. So let's look at this feather. This part is called the quill that attaches to the skin or the bone, and it's also called the calamus. And this is the rachis. This is called the vein of this part. Now, this is made up of barbs, which are made up of barbules. And those are sort of like Velcro that hook together. They're different parts of the feather. This is the downy part and the after feather. That helps keep birds warm. And these hook together. There are many, many different kinds of feathers, but let me show you. This would be like a downy feather. Here you can see the barbs a little bit better and how they hook together to make the feather strong. Some feathers are wing feathers for flight. Some are tail feathers for steering. We have downy feathers for warmth and insulation. We have some waterproof feathers. We have some feathers that are for defense, some for camouflage, some for display. So we have feathers for lots of different purposes. There's 7 different kinds of feathers. Now, I'm going to teach you a little bit about bird beaks, because birds eat many different kinds of foods. They can eat invertebrates, things like worms, or here's my fish, or we're going to pretend that these are lots of little tiny water creatures. They can eat seeds, nuts. These little marshmallows here, I'm going to pretend those are little mammals, maybe tiny, tiny mice. So here's some more seeds. Whoa, these are going to be bigger mammals, these cotton balls that we're going to be catching. We're going to pretend these are like little things that live in the water. Maybe they eat some grain. These are some more mammals and some more different kinds of grains and seeds. Here's some more, this is rice. And I bet you know what this is. Popcorn, yes. So birds eat many kinds of things. And the result is they have to have beaks adapted to eat all those different kinds of things. So I'm going to show you some things that are like the different beaks. So let's say I dropped one of my things. Let me grab it up here. Some birds need to shave things off, like this cheese shaver. Some of them need to filter like this strain. Maybe they're like a pelican where they've got a scoop and have a big pouch. Or maybe they need to grate it. Maybe they're like a toucan and they're going to catch things in their flat beaks. They're going to get fruit like this. Or maybe they're going to be mud feeders and they're going to have to go into the mud and probe to pull out their food. Maybe they're going to need to trap insects. They might be insectivores. So maybe they're going to need to trap flying insects. Maybe they're going to need to spear small animals in the water. Or maybe they'll be like an owl. They're going to grab that small mammal like this, and they're going to need very sharp tearing beaks like an eagle or an owl, or like my scissors here, to tear it apart. Maybe they're going to be like a woodpecker. They're going to drill into the bark to find their insects, and then they're going to have to pull them out just like this tweezer. Maybe they're going to be the woodpecker. They may, they might need to crack some in, or they might be like a cardinal or a sparrow where they have a bill for cracking. They might need to do some grinding like this, or probing like that. They might need to be some sipping up nectar. I've got a couple of things that might be sipping up nectar. So birds have beaks that are adapted for many different ways of feeding. Birds also have many different ways of moving or flying. So now we are going to learn how to fly like a bird. So first, can you put your arms straight up, stand straight up, and put your arms straight down, and you're standing like a penguin. So we're going to stand like a penguin. But penguins fly by swimming underwater. So make your arms like this, and we're going to swim like, flap your hands, swim, fly like a penguin, stand like a penguin. Now, some birds fly with their arms in a V. I bet everybody has seen turkey vultures. So we're going to put our arms in a V and fly like a vulture, stand like a penguin. Now, some birds, like eagles, can see 2 miles away to find a rabbit. They're flying 70 to 80 miles an hour and diving 125 to 200 miles an hour. So their wings are straight out, and we're looking for that rabbit, looking far away, arms straight out to the side, vulture, penguin. Now, some birds are fishing birds like the osprey. So let's make our arms in an M, and we have to dive for those fish. Dive like an osprey, dive like an osprey. Eagle, penguin. Now, some birds need to be flying sort of straight up and down. You see that woodpecker? He's sort of straight up and down. We don't want him to crash into the tree, so he has to roller coaster so he can control his movement. So we're gonna flap our hands really fast and roller coaster like a woodpecker, stand like a penguin. Now, this bird goes very, very fast, a hummingbird. A hummingbird flaps his wings 70 to 80 times a second. If you did that, you would be 750 degrees. What a fever. You would burn up. But they go back and forth. You've seen they hover, they go back and forth. So put your hands fast. Hummingbird front, hummingbird back, hummingbird front, hummingbird back, vulture. Now, let's be a flamingo. Now look at this flamingo. Flamingos stand, that's not their foot, that's their toes. Can you put your toes down and stand on your toes? Toes right, toes left, toes right, flamingo. Now we are going to have a bird that is going to do a dance because this rooster wants to attract all the beautiful hens. So we're going to do the rooster dance. Right wing up, step, step, step. Left wing up, step, step, step. Right wing up, step, step, step. Shake your tail. We're roosters. The last bird is the pigeon. Now we have to make pigeon sounds because they coo. Can you make a pigeon sound? But pigeons also have their necks going in and out, in and out. That helps them see. They have a funny kind of vision, and that slows down so they can see. So we're going to go necks in and out, but then we're going to turn to one side and turn to the other side like a pigeon. And that's how we move like a pigeon. So all these birds are adapted to how they get food and how they attract other birds. And now we are going to read a story about birds. But before I do that, let me show you some of my birds. I bet you know what this bird is. This is a duck. So some of those ducks have those straining beaks. And we're going to call this a warbler. He might have a cracking beak. This is my woodpecker. And that woodpecker is going to have that probing beak to get into the bark. Oh, we know what this is. My hummingbird. And my hummingbird is going to have that sipping beak for nectar. And here's we just did a lot of penguins. So remember, penguins fly under the water. We call it swimming. We talked about the owl, and the owl has those nice claws for grabbing and the beak like a scissors. We'll have this, we'll call a little songbird. See that sharp beak? Probably like a nutcracker. So now let's do our bird story. And the bird story goes like this. It's called Bird Boogie. Some birds flap wings and some dive down. Here's our osprey. Some back and forth. You remember who that is, the hummingbird. And some turn around. Remember that pigeon we just did? So birds move in lots of different ways. Birds are also architects. They make many kinds of nests. Eagles make very large nests. Can you put your hands out large? And they add to them every year. They can weigh many, many pounds. This bird, the oriole, makes a hanging nest. Here we have a little hummingbird. That hummingbird makes a little nest that expands as the babies grow bigger. Water birds can make nests actually on the water. Shorebirds might dig a hole in the sand. Birds that live on cliffs have eggs that are pointy so they won't roll off the cliff. And some owls burrow underneath, or some owls will make nests in a hole in a tree. So let's look at some nests and see what they're made of, because we're going to do some nest crafts and some nest snacks. So look at this nest here. Can you see there's some little fabric, there's some sticks, there's grass, there's leaves. So this nest has many different kinds of things in it. Now, this nest was made by a cardinal. You can see this cardinal was a very good architect. Look how beautiful that is inside. That cardinal made it nice and smooth inside. This nest, oh, it's tiny. It was made for a wren. You can see it has lots of leaves and lots of grass. Now, you can make a nest. I bet you didn't know that. I took this big box and I filled it full of grass, and I'm going to put some of my little birds right in this nest, like this. So I'm taking my little birds and I'm putting them in the bird nest. But this nest is big enough that you could be a bird and you could sit in this nest, or you could take some hard-boiled eggs or some plastic Easter eggs and put them in the nest. Now, let's see how, I'm going to get it, we can make a nest craft. So I took some Play-Doh and I put it in the bottom of a bowl, and I put in some grass and leaves and things, and that made a nest. But we can also make other kinds of art. So I can take a bird picture. Here's my bird picture. And I can glue feathers on it. There's my feathers. Or I can cut out pictures of feathers like this and glue them on. I can be a bird designer or a bird artist or a bird engineer. I can also make bird houses, bird feeders, and bird waterers out of lots of different things. So I can take these two bottles, and one of them, the water will flow down here, and I'll cut the bottom off here and make a bird waterer. Or I can take a bottle and fill it with seeds and put a spoon through. We have a perch and a feeding area to make a bird feeder. Or I can take and hang this milk carton and fill it with seeds or use it as a bird house. Let's see what else I can do. Look at this milk carton. I'm going to fold down the flaps. This is another milk carton. Fold down the flaps. I put a string in the top, and this could be a bird house or a bird feeder. This one could be a bird waterer. So there's lots of things. Use your imagination. Find any old thing around the house and figure out how you could make it into a bird feeder or a bird house. You can also look in your house. What foods would birds like to eat that are in your house? And what kind of bee would you need to eat it? You can go outdoors and think, where would a bird find shelter? Where could it build a nest? Where could it find food or water? So you can do a bird exploratory walk outside. Now, let's go ahead and I'm going to show you how I made some bird snacks. So I took a lid like this and put a little hook in it, and I had some seeds of different kinds, and I have some coconut here, and I can make a bird feeder snack, or it could be for birds. So let's see what it looks like. Does this look yummy? So I could take that and I could spread that on some graham crackers, whoops, excuse me, yeah, graham crackers, and make a bird snack, or I could hang it up for the birds. I also made a bird nest snack with peanut butter and pretzels and coconut, oops, falling all over. And I could spread that on some saltine crackers. There they are. And I could have another bird nest snack. How delicious does that sound? So we learned a lot about birds today. We learned they have different kinds of beaks, different ways to move, different kinds of webs. We learned we could use our big brain thinkers to figure out how to make bird feeders and bird houses and bird waterers. So we are now first-class bird experts. So goodbye, children. Goodbye, children. Goodbye, children. I'm glad to see you now. Now it's time to wave bye-bye, wave bye-bye, wave bye-bye. Now it's time to wave bye-bye. I'll see you again next month. Do you know what we're going to be learning about? We're going to be learning about hide and seek, how animals use color.